A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Well, let's turn our attention to South Australia, and right now there are some drought conditions that are affecting places, say Western Victoria, and there are scattered areas around various states all around Australia that are actually suffering significant drought conditions. Now, there's a special event that's happening called A Rise, a Farmer's Hope. And Glen Ballin from the ministry organisation called the Mighty Men is joining us. He's sitting with a truckload of goats right now. Hey Glen, welcome along to 2020.
G'day Neil, great to talk with you.
Hey, Glen, just describe where you are right now. Your farm's in Wilcannia in New South Wales. You're doing this for people who are in South Australia, but you're sitting there with your goats now. You've been doing some mustering.
Yes, no, we've got helicopters and bikes running around here at the moment and shifting goats, and but our hearts are with the farmers in South Australia, especially in Western Victoria. It's a huge drought down there, and it's been quite a challenge. And they're facing another planting season where things still haven't broken as far as rain goes yet. And so we're coming to encourage the farmers down there on Adrian Cook's property at Mintaro, just to reassure them that there's a place to live that's full of hope regardless of our circumstances.
Now, I like the way you use the word drought, because drought's a dreadful thing for farming communities. But you also like to talk about drought conditions in the human heart. And wherever you might be listening, this might be something, especially if you're on the land and you know what drought is like. The drought analogy can describe very effectively, can't it, sometimes the state of the human heart?
Well, it can, Neil. Certainly that has been my personal experience. I met Jesus Christ when I was about 27 years old in the middle of a drought in Queensland, and there's one thing for sure, when they receive the hope that he has to offer, doesn't mean to say there's not challenges, and doesn't mean to say we don't have to walk through dry times, but I know for sure that his hope it doesn't disappoint, and we don't need to defer hope, because he has actually established a place for us to live in our hearts, and it's just a blessed relationship we can have. And so I think at this time we're finding that men have had enough, actually. They've had enough of the world and what it supposedly offers. They've probably had enough of religion, and they're really seeking the truth. And so we're just coming to be a part and share with them. And we just love to see as many men there as we can. We believe that God wants to move powerfully in this land. We actually have no doubt about that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be leaving where we are.
You know, I've been talking about the Mighty Men ministry on a number of occasions now, and some listeners will just know you connect Mighty Men with Angus Buchan, who had an outreach on his farm in South Africa, and something like 500,000 men turned up to it. And the
That's
Mighty
right.
Men outreaches that have been happening here in Australia, even this year and last year, as many as 400 men turning out onto properties. Is this the first time you've had a Rise of Farmers Hope?
It's the first time we've run a Rise of Farmers Hope. I have done Mighty Men events in the past, quite a few since early 2012. But this is a directive directly from God, Neil. And I'm in relationship with Dad Angus in South Africa, and heading over there again soon, actually. But we're very much aware that this is the word of the Lord, because when the Lord spoke to me on the 29th of January out of Matthew 17:7, and he said, "Arise and do not be afraid." And I said, "Okay, Lord, what do I do?" And he said, "Arise, a farmer's hope." And so I didn't know what to do with that. And so I prayed about it. And in verse 9, 2 verses later, it says there, "Tell the vision to no one." So I thought, well, I can do that. And so I did it. I shared it with my wife, and that was it. And anyway, about 3 weeks later, the Lord brought men from South Australia to our farm who had a word that we were to join together and come down and they didn't know what was going to happen, but they said, it's going to be big, Glen. We don't know what's going to happen. So I agreed with them, and that's where Arise, a Farmer's Hope was birthed, yeah.
And it's another Mighty Men event. You're going to South Australia.
Neil, it's actually not, Neil.
All right, okay, yes, okay.
Earlier this year, the Lord spoke to me clearly and asked me to lay everything down that I'd ever done. He said, disregard all things and expect great things. So we had to set aside everything that we'd done, and I shared this with Dad Angus, and he said, get stuck into it, son, as he does. And so this is just clearly, simply a son of God being obedient to his father. And but there's lots of men on board, and it doesn't matter where you're at in life as a man, whether you know God or whether you don't know God, whether your walk is good or not. I can assure you that you will be welcome because God has a plan for every man. And I have experienced personally the hope that we can find in Jesus Christ, and I've experienced the transformation not only in my own life, but in my families and those around us. And we give all the praise to the Lord for that.
Okay, it's a 4-day event. Talk to me about the geography for a few moments, because with listeners all over Australia, they might not know where Adrian Cook's farm is at Mintaro. So Adrian Cook's farm, he's obviously a well-known local farmer in South Australia, but where is Mintaro? Give us a little geography lesson here.
Well, it's right in the heart of some of the most prime farming country in South Australia, actually, and which is quite significant because it's been quite a shock, I think, to the whole communities down there, because for them not to get a crop there, that means the rest of the country is in really bad shape. So Mintaro is, smack bang in the middle of some of the primest farming country you'll find in South Australia. I think that's the significance. I think that it just shows how tough this time has been for farmers down there. So,
Now, it's not far away, the 14th through the 17th of May. You're planning to put up a huge tent that will seat hundreds of men for the first 3 nights. And then whole families being invited on the Saturday night, the 17th. What are the men doing? They're camping nearby. It's a farm. There's plenty of room. Camping there?
There's toilet, shower facilities. There'll be a meal provided each night for free before the meeting time. And so it costs you nothing to come along. This is a faith event, so we're putting our trust in the Lord, and so men are welcome. There is plenty of camping room and plenty to do in the region during the day. And the meetings I think the meal starts at 5:30 and some time together from 6:30 onwards.
What are you eating? I was talking about one of the Mighty Men events a little earlier. They were slaughtering a couple of steers and going to feed all these hundreds of men. Is this the way you'll do it as well?
Yes, correct. From what I can hear from the fellas down south there's been, sheep and beef provided, and, I'm sure that they're pretty keen to put on a spread. But the most important part is, Neil, that men know they're welcome. Because, you might think I'm not sure that I fit in. My life's pretty rough. Well, I can tell you there's plenty of men, including myself, who've been in rough places. And so there's lots of men will be on the same page. But I'd just like to assure you as you listen that hope is possible regardless of your situation, and change is inevitable if you come to this weekend.
Now, who is your guest speaker, or do you have a number of speakers? Are there going to be testimonies? How does all the ministry side of things work? You've got a tent there will hold hundreds of men. Who are people going to be listening to?
Yeah, well, there will be some testimonies each night, and there'll be some music, some worship, and I'm actually the speaker, Neil. So. I'm very much looking forward to speaking to men from grassroots situation. We're on the land here and we trust God daily, and it's actually been quite dry here. We've had a little break here now, but the important part is we walk into a place where we understand that God is a reality for us day to day, and that's what He provided. I'd just like to share with you one verse out of Romans 8. It says, "For creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of Him who subjected it in hope." And so God has provided hope through Jesus Christ. And the amazing part is that it's futile to resist it. And so many of us have come to realize that it's a futile life unless our hearts are full of hope. And it's more than possible. It's available.
So we have a divinely appointed meeting that is leading to having this Arise a Farmer's Hope event on the land in South Australia in the Mintaro district. In fact, here's the address, Adrian Cook's Farm. And as I understand it, you've got a Facebook page, and when you go to the Facebook page, Arise a Farmer's Hope, there's a pin drop there that will show you the location. And once you get close, you're going to be looking for signs that point you to Adrian Cook's Farm. Is this the easiest way to get there? Or, is Glen, are you going to have people flying in on helicopters?
Oh, who would know what's going to happen? I believe that this is going across the land. We believe that this is far bigger than any of us perceive. We know that God is on it, and He's provided for me to speak to you today, and I've never met you before, Neil, so it's exciting our spirit. And we know also, just practically, if men get themselves to Mintaro on Catalunga Road, there'll be directions, signposts there to Adrian's farm.
All right, Catalunga Road. Look out for Adrian's Farm, Mintaro in South Australia, and there are some pretty severe conditions developing in a number of places, whether it's Western Victoria or these scattered spots throughout South Australia, other states and territories too. And you might have Queensland have just been under all sorts of floodwaters, but that doesn't mean we can't have drought conditions and flood conditions that are happening at the same time. It's a big nation that we live in. We're talking the 14th through the 17th of May. It's called Arise a Farmer's Hope. Best connecting point is on Facebook, Arise a Farmer's Hope, a pin drop there, and then you'll be able to look for the signs to get to Adrian Cook's Farm, Catalunga Road, and at Mintaro in South Australia. Glen Ballin, great getting your insights. Thanks so much for sharing these with us today on 2020.
It's been a real privilege, Neil. Thank you.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.